Today we are pleased to welcome Mr. Steven Greenway, the CEO of flyadeal. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. We are delighted to have this conversation and learn more about your vision and ambitions for the future of the company.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you, and thank you for coming.
Thank you. What brought you to Saudi Arabia? What was the appeal?
I have to be honest, first was the job. It was a fantastic opportunity. I'm a person who has worked in low-cost carriers around the world. And when you're given the opportunity to pick up or lead a low-cost carrier that has a high growth projection in an area or a region that is very dynamic, Saudi Arabia and the Gulf, it was a win-win for me. I've also worked in the Gulf, so in Kuwait, in the UAE, and I've also done some business in Saudi Arabia, so I was familiar with the region. So to me, I was very comfortable with the region. Great opportunity in terms of flyadeal. I've heard many great things, and it had a very high growth projection, and that's something that I wanted to be part of. So it was a very easy decision to come here.
As CEO, you've been incredibly busy over the past 18 months since joining flyadeal. Why have you adopted this approach?
In terms of being online, yes. In terms of being active and online and active. So I think part of my role, there's many parts to being the role of a CEO. There's the safety aspect, there's the people aspect, there's a range of things, operations, making sure the airline runs on a day-to-day basis properly and so forth. But to be fair, there's also a public relations or communications aspect. That is that effectively, like it or not, you're the face of the airline. I'm not a very pretty face, but there we go. But I am the face of the airline, and I realize there's a role to play in terms of getting the airline's message out to external parties and people and customers, be it good news, such as our fleet growth or new destinations, or even bad news like delays or cancellations where we've had a technical snag. And so a good example would be last year, we lost our ability to check in around the kingdom for a couple of hours, and I had to front that and provide the bad news. So the role has its ups and downs, but I very much have to embrace the fact that I do have to be the public face of the airline, and thus the activity that you talk about.
You've taken a rather bold approach, especially considering that most CEOs in service-led industries tend to avoid appearing on social media. Mm-hmm. What led you to embrace this path?
My team convinced me. Like everyone, I had a LinkedIn account, but I don't have any other social media. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram or X or anything else. I'm only just on LinkedIn. And before I came here, LinkedIn was a business account. It was for understanding what's going on out there. But to be honest, it was really my team and me, I suppose, that we thought, look, we can really use LinkedIn in a positive way to promote the airline and what we're doing here. And thus it's a team effort. Yes, it's my account and I certainly push stuff out, but it's a team effort in terms of what we do and the content and so forth. In terms of doing it, I think social media it's what we say in English is like a double-edged sword. There's very much some positives. So a good example is we were recruiting pilots in Istanbul recently and having interviews. And we asked them, did they know about flyadeal? This is our management pilots. And all of the pilots knew what we were interviewing, knew exactly what flyadeal was doing, knew exactly how many aircraft we had, where we were flying. And they asked, how did you know so much about flyadeal? And they said, we follow Steven on his LinkedIn account. So that's great. It's getting information out. I suppose it's a double-edged sword because always in the back of your mind, you just need to be cautious about what you say, avoid politics, avoid these things. Just stick to the core story, which is about flyadeal. So you have to be very particular about what you publish and how you publish, if that makes sense.
You've changed the perception of traveling with flyadeal and created new passenger profiles. You're getting business people to travel low cost, young women traveling on short breaks. Mm-hmm. Is this the new Saudi Arabia?
Very much so, and it's a long way to go. I think that what we're about is not taking passengers from other airlines. We're about getting you off that couch and traveling somewhere, and also Nada and everyone else is to sit there and go, you know what, I wasn't going to do anything this weekend, but I saw that there was 100 SAR fare to go to Dammam, and I've got a friend in Dammam, so I'm going to go surprise her, or whatever the case may be. So for us, it's about getting the market stimulated, offering cheap fares all year round so people have the incentive to travel, but equally we do that safely. Of course, that's core to our being. But we also do it reliably. That is, that when you book a flight with us, you're going to be on time and the flight's not going to be cancelled. And so it's between, safety, reliability, and great price. If we just get those three basics right, then the market segments that you talk about are all attracted. It doesn't matter if you're a business person. It doesn't matter if you're a lady who wishes to go shopping in Dubai or me going to a beach resort. It doesn't matter. I know these three basic things flyadeal constantly delivers on, and to me then it's a no-brainer. Of course they're going to come and fly with us and spend with us and travel with us. So that's what we focused on, the basics for the past 18 months.
How would you describe flyadeal's journey from its launch until today? What key milestones are you most proud of?
Yeah, so I think the best way I could describe it is almost like adulthood. We're just in adulthood. We're no longer a startup. We're coming to our 8th year, so come National Day in September, we will be 8 years old, and so we can't call ourselves a startup anymore. We're very much an adult. We have our 40th aircraft arriving in the next 48 hours, so that's very exciting, another milestone. This month alone, for July, we'll be carrying our first 1 million passengers, and so another milestone. Just only 3-4 weeks ago, we passed, on average, 200 flights a day. So we're operating over 200 flights a day. Indeed, at this moment in time, I actually think we're operating 220 flights a day. So it just, you can see how there's so many milestones that stand out for me. But this particular period, I think, is the most exciting for me and the most recognized for what we've done. We've been number one in the Middle East for on-time performance for the past 6 months. In June alone, we were globally number one for on-time performance. In July, we will have 1 million passengers flown with us. In tomorrow or the next day, our 40th aircraft arrives. So we've got, I suppose what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter what month we could have had this interview, every month has got a new milestone. Every month has got either new planes arriving or another record being broken or whatever the case may be. But particularly at the moment, June, July of 2025, it's very exciting because of all the milestones I've just said.
What is flyadeal's strategic vision for the next 5 years? Are there plans to expand beyond the region?
Absolutely. And so a couple of things that support the vision, and then we can talk about the vision. Number one, as I said, we will have 40 aircraft in the next 2 days, and we will move to 98 aircraft in the next 4 years. And our fleet actually starts to change a little bit. At the moment, our cornerstone of our fleet is the A320, the Airbus A320, marvelous airplane. We love it. But next year it's going to be joined by the Airbus A321, its bigger sister or brother, call it what you will. And then in 2027, we actually have an even a bigger plane, which is our first wide bodies coming, which is the A330neo. And so just on a fleet basis, we're growing rapidly. You spoke of markets. Well, because of the fleet growth, our network is going to change very dramatically in the next couple of years. So at the moment, we're still predominantly a domestic carrier. Most people are surprised at that. 75% of our total capacity is flying around domestically in the kingdom. So think Jeddah, Riyadh as an example. 25% of our capacity is flying internationally, Cairo, Dubai, Alexandria, Turkey as an example. In the next 2 to 3 years, no later, our network will be 50-50. So it'll only be 50% domestic. We'll of course continue growing domestically, but a lot of the growth will come on the international side. So 50% of our flying will be done internationally. And therefore our network starts to change. At the moment, predominantly the kingdom, plus a couple of countries around the kingdom for the most part. In the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, because of the aircraft we're getting, we can fly longer. So India, we just launched an extra couple of routes in Pakistan, Europe, and once we get our wide bodies in 2 years' time, exactly 2 years' time from this month, we will go as far as Southeast Asia, so think Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, and all the way up to Europe, particularly the UK and France. So you'll see a much, much broader network east to west, but also a lot of growth regionally from the subcontinent, India, Pakistan, and also don't forget just what I call our backyard. We don't fly to Bahrain as an example, or Doha yet, so we will be doing that soon. So there's a lot of flying just in our own backyard that we still to do. And of course, we'll continue to grow domestically. So as an example, we have roughly 25 flights between Jeddah and Riyadh a day alone. That'll probably be 30 in the next 1 or 2 years. And so we'll continue to grow across all of these markets.
We've recently witnessed major aircraft purchase deals. What do these fleet expansions mean for flyadeal and its passengers?
I think it's more choice. It's more choice at lower fares. And so as I explained before, our network is changing, opening up new destinations. The breadth of our network will now not just be the predominantly the Gulf countries. It's going to be everything up from Europe to the Gulf countries, all the way down to Southeast Asia. So I think from a consumer perspective, it's going to be about choice and lower fares. They're going to have more choice to be able to fly around and lower fares. And particularly in what I'm proud of is, we can get Saudis and people who live in Saudi Arabia traveling around effectively and efficiently within the kingdom. We can take Saudis overseas and explore the world, which is a wonderful thing to do. But really, really importantly, and part of Vision 2030, is we're bringing people to the kingdom. And that could be for labour traffic, or it could be for religious traffic, be it Hajj or Umrah, or it could be for holiday traffic, going and seeing and staying at the Red Sea Resort as an example, or visiting Alula, which is beautiful. So with the country opening up, we are a key enabler. The growth of our fleet, the growth of our network is enabling that 2030 vision.
How does flyadeal balance offering competitive fares while maintaining high standards of safety and operational efficiency?
Mm-hmm. So I think a couple of things. You need to go back to your low-cost ethos, which is, keep it really simple. Anything we do, keep it simple. So as an example, we have a great onboard product on our 320s, but we don't have any IFE. We don't have any onboard Wi-Fi. We don't have any free food, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you propagate that simplicity across the whole business, one type of aircraft, simplicity, one way of operating, a standard set of training, et cetera. It's almost, in English we say it's rinse and repeat, which is a good saying, because it's basically we're always doing the same thing and we do it again and again and again until we absolutely perfect it, both in terms of ensuring safety, in terms of just standard operating procedures, and just routine and efficiency. And that's what we do. And we squeeze more for our assets as well. So we fly our aircraft harder, so they're up in the air longer than most airlines, to drive down unit cost and drive that efficiency within the business. But from a safety perspective, we're just like every other airline. We have the same governance in terms of GACA, we have to adhere to the same standards. We have a GACA audit next week, our annual audit. We have all of that done just as any other airline has done. We have nothing to hide. And indeed, we're very proud of our proficiency and efficiency within how we operate the airline.
What role does technology and digital transformation play in enhancing the customer experience at flyadeal?
Sure. I think only being 7 years old, digital was at the core of flyadeal when it was established. So it's not such a process or a journey of digital transformation. It's a journey of digital enhancement. If you start off as a digital company, it's now then just making sure that you continue to enhance. So some basic things. Last year we made sure that our mobile app did 99% of what customers needed to do in terms of change, cancel, split booking, etc., order a meal. So you can go to the mobile app and do virtually everything you need to do rather than having to call a call center, which is obviously very, very much legacy technology. Over the past 18 months, what we also have done is invested heavily in technology in a lot of other areas, operations, IT, etc., making sure that journey is continuing. But it's not so much a transformation. At our core, we've always been a digital airline. We've always sold the vast bulk of our tickets online or through our website and so forth. But now we're broadening that aspect. So a good example is we sell through more travel agencies than we ever did, particularly OTAs, online travel agencies, digitally. On the other side, what we're doing is we're investing heavily on people systems, so everything becomes electronic. Records for operations becomes electronics and digitally enhanced. Our cockpit is paper-free, has been for a very long time. A lot of airlines still have paper manuals and everything. Everything is on an iPad, and iPads are issued to all of our pilots, and all of the apps, all of the data that they need is on their iPad, as an example. So our journey is about continuing to enhance all of those services and initiatives that were started, to be honest, before me.
What are your plans to support Saudiization and empowering local talent across the company's departments?
That's fair. We're actually heavy Saudi already. Many departments are 100% Saudi. All my direct reports, bar one, are Saudi. If you look at departments like finance or people or safety or IT, all Saudi, as an example. Our first officers, 100% Saudi. Our captains, still a mix. We have still some overseas pilots, our captains. And our cabin crew about 50-50. We have 50-60% overseas and 40% Saudi. And those numbers continue to grow in terms of the Saudiization. So our focus is just doing that incrementally, making sure we attract the best people, making sure they're well trained and everything. But For flyadeal, we're well on our way in terms of Saudiization, and as I said, in many departments, we're already 100% Saudi anyway. First offices is a good example.
Flyadeal clearly targets a younger audience. How do you shape your communication and marketing strategy for this demographic?
I think I would say we don't target a younger audience. We target a broad audience, but our approach is we're fresh. We're a very fresh airline. The way we advertise, the way we talk to consumers, the technology that we have is very new and very fresh. But if you fly our aircraft, if you fly on board, which you did, you'll see all sorts of people, everything from 1-year-olds and babies all the way through to 90-year-olds. I mean, there is no particular, and we don't particularly just target teenagers because we want to target a broad society. You can have, I always find funny, I'm flying and at the front seats are business people and so forth in their 40s or 50s. They get off the plane and they're picked up by a limo and taken to the terminal. At the back of the plane, there's families, there's kids, there's me, as I was the other day. It's a complete mix. So we don't specifically target younger. Our approach is fresh and young, but we're trying to approach a broad market segment, as I said.
What were the main challenges you faced during the recent expansion, and how did you overcome them?
I think the challenges are more to do with making sure that we have the right crew and right people in place. That's always a challenge, that you've got enough pilots, that you've got enough crew, that you're training them effectively and so forth as well, and making sure that your growth isn't outgrowing your ability to be able to sustain that growth. And that will continue. I mean, in the coming years to come, we will have an aircraft being delivered once a month, and typically one aircraft means 1 or 2 near destinations as well, be it international or domestic. And so just being able to manage that and having effectively an airline that can scale and can scale well and safely, that's what we've been focused on. Particularly, we haven't gone through a high growth period in the past 12 months. So it's been moderated. We wanted to be able to get ourselves prepared for the high growth that's coming in the next couple of months and the next couple of years. So it's having that foundation that is able to scale that's key, and we now have that in place.
What can passengers expect from flyadeal in the short term over the next 12 months?
So more destinations. We'll be launching India. We just launched some new routes into Pakistan. So Islamabad is a good example. So you'll see more destinations, more countries. I hope to open up Syria in the next couple of months, which I'm incredibly excited about. Lebanon, maybe some extra destinations to Europe as well. You'll also see some more intense Umrah flying. So Umrah flying in terms of bringing pilgrims into the country, which we're very, very focused on as well. And we expect to introduce 8 new aircraft over the next 12 months as well. So one every 1.5 months effectively. So those aircraft breed new destinations around new countries and so forth as well. So that's the real focus. And we're going to have some customer enhancements as well. Some of them I can't talk about, but one that we've already just launched is we've joined Al Fasan, which is Saudi's loyalty program. So you can earn and burn using your points from Al Fasan on flyadeal now. So that's one great initiative we just launched only 3 weeks ago. And there's a couple of other key initiatives that are coming up over the next couple of months. Can't talk about them, but you'll hear about them for sure.
What's your message for aspiring job seekers with flyadeal? What are you looking for?
Looking for people who are passionate, looking for people who truly want to be in aviation, because aviation, airlines in particular, it's not an easy business. It's not all glamour. It's not all about travel. It is a 24/7 by 365 operation. Your airline never sleeps, you never sleep. And I think in people who want to come and join and progress in an airline, it has to be about passion, because that passion and that resilience will get you through the difficult times. And airlines have difficult times and they have really good times, but we've got to carry on because we're such an operation. So I think it's really passion and resilience that we're looking, and we can train skills. We can bring people on and train them and give them experience. But what I think at the start, it is really about passion and resilience. If they've got those 2 core abilities, then we've got something to work with and to bring them in the airline.
Any final words you'd like to share with passengers, flyadeal followers, and aviation enthusiasts?
I think watch this space. I think that very few airlines have grown as fast as we plan to grow over the next couple of years. From a fleet perspective, from a network perspective, from flying from Southeast Asia all the way to Europe, which we don't currently do. So the airline is under a huge amount of change over the next couple of years. It's very exciting for our people. It's very exciting for me. I think it's very exciting for our passengers because we provide more choice. And for those who are observers in the industry, I think it's exciting because you don't get to see this growth too often. And so how we navigate that and how we navigate that successfully, I think is going to be something that's very interesting to watch over the next couple of years.
Thank you so much for the interview. We are excited for what's coming next.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me and for the questions you asked. Appreciate it. Shukran.